It's Tommy's last story. Let's talk about it. Hey everybody, welcome to Comic YOUniverse. DPZ here again with C-Dubs and Mikey. And we're back with Panel to Panel. And today we're going to be talking about from Boom Studios, Power Rangers, Soul of the Dragon. I legit forgot the title for 2 seconds.
That's funny.
So, Dubs, my man, would you like to tell the good people out there of the story?
Basically, like you said, it's the last story of Tommy as a ranger. We are in the future where we are basically told the story of old man Tommy, if you will. His kid has grown up. We find out that he is, spoiler alert, married to Kat. And their child is undercover, okay, with this, I don't remember the name of the gang or group or whatever it was. Was it ever mentioned?
I think they just, I can't remember the name right off.
Anyway, he's undercover, and it is believed that he may have gone AWOL and has actually turned villainous himself. And it's up to Tommy to kind of figure out what the hell's going on with his son. That's basically the logistics of it, and we get Tommy with the upgraded version morpher, if you will. The Master Morpher, yes. And so basically he has 5 morphs left, and he needs to make them count. And it was a pretty good story overall.
This is also the last story that Kyle Higgins, the guy who gave us why he made Power, he's the dude who made the Power Rangers comics so big. So this was his last story before leaving Boom, and I think he's gone back to DC.
Yeah.
This was a great graphic novel. Right out the gate, guys, if you love Power Rangers, this is a much needed part of your collection.
Yeah.
This is, it's an interesting story because it's not as, depressing as Old Man Logan.
Right, no, not
I mean, we called it Old Man Tommy, but it's not as depressing, you don't see, the incest kids of,
Rita, or anything like that.
Although we do get a mention of Rita. It's also interesting of how they mix all the genres, and if you're a hardcore OG Power Rangers fan, you're gonna pick up on some references.
Yeah.
They actually mention Zordon's death and the wave of goodness that happened, and they actually bring up, hey, Rita's good now. And you also had other references to other Rangers. There is definitely a lot of good in here, and obviously they couldn't fit every aspect into this story, but for what they had, it was really cool, and especially seeing Tommy and how they reference the Master Morpher from the current Power Rangers, Ninja Steel, and also how
previous.
Previous. Now we have Beast Morpher. Yes. That's right. I also like how they kind of keep what happened to him vague. It was a battle that jacked him up and stopped from being a ranger.
Yeah, basically he hurt his back, and there's a lot of, again, like you said, there's a lot of good to the story. There are I'll kind of point out a couple of things, like I had mentioned to you, Ty, that there's some sci-fi tropes that happen within this book that have just been done to death, in my opinion, and maybe just some time away from some of those tropes, like walking in into some sort of Katina Star Wars style with a bunch of bad dudes in there and they're all aliens or super villain. It's just been told time and time again. I think we could have found a more unique or just more interesting way to get the info that he needed out, if you will. Just things like that. One of the things I do love, like I also mentioned to you, was if you're following along with the current run of Power Rangers, if you will, or the previous run of Power Rangers, Draken, he had this, his right-hand man being Finster 5. Okay, it was kind of cool to see this Tommy and Finster have some sort of relationship, but kind of on the side of good, if you will.
Yeah.
It was a really good mirror to that, such a dark concept, if you will, just a few, storylines back, if you will. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, and I also like that they actually address, hey, Finster, you made monsters, and Finster's like, oh yeah, but I got hit by Zordon's wave. I'm good now.
I'm good now, yeah.
And it's actually what happens with Finster and Tommy at the end is kind of heartbreaking.
Yeah. And basically, it's somewhat similar to, I would say, a drug rain more so like a arms race. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of a mix between the two. I felt.
And it is interesting to find out who we have 2 villains in here.
Right.
And one, I was like, oh, finally we get to find out what happened to that character. Should we spoil it?
Yeah, it's okay.
It's Scorpina.
Which I thought, and because I was going to mention it too, that's why I said it was okay. And I thought it was really cool that Scorpina got the limelight here, because she's been playing like second, third fiddle for how many years now?
Yeah.
You know, so it was kind of cool to see her get the shine as a bad guy here in the main villain, if you will, of the story. I definitely dug it. Of course, again, I don't know if you guys can actually see the cover art, but he has 5 morphs left, and of course that means each one is one of the different incarnations that he himself has been.
Yeah.
From Mighty Morphin all the way up to Dino Charge.
Well, it goes from Dino Charge.
Right, it goes backwards. So it's
not Dino Thunder.
Yes. So for any you know later year fans will get their enjoyment right at the beginning, and it's slowly counting down, obviously, to the one he's most synonymously known for, which is the Green Dragons, or Dragon Ranger, if you will, Green Ranger, if you will, and there's a little twist, which I don't think we should spoil that.
Yeah.
There's a twist to the last morph, if you will, that it definitely would say, if you're really into it, you'll really dig. It'll leave you maybe even wanting a little more from that said characters.
Yeah.
That we're dealing with. So, but overall, I would say this is definitely a buy.
The other thing is like they don't go too deep into it. Is that Tommy's like, maybe it's for the better I stop doing these morphs, because he kind of insinuates they're killing me.
Yeah, pretty much. He's definitely well past his prime. He's definitely dealing with some bodily injuries that he hasn't been able to completely heal from. You know, and just the mental anguish alone, you know. And if I were to, another knock, I guess, is you kind of want to know a little bit more about Tommy's son, what was his name, JJ?
Yeah.
And you kind of want to know a little bit more, and you don't necessarily get that, unfortunately. But overall, I really did enjoy everything I read.
The other thing is, I guess, like, the other major villain in here is one I was not expecting, which was Lokar, which... Everyone, even like if you're original Power Rangers fans, you have to like stop and think of who Lokar is.
Yeah, I had to do the same thing. I had to research. I didn't know.
Yeah. For those who don't remember Lokar, he was basically in the first season of Power Rangers, he was like the big enemy they had to fight that Rita summoned. And they kind of treat him like a dark side kind of character here. I guess like the other thing is that they also, like, the Earth is very different. Like, it's obviously like... aliens are now here living among us, and SPD is in charge. Right. So if you're, again, like a Disney era Power Rangers fan, you're gonna dig that. I guess like the other thing, like, how did you feel about Kat with Tom?
I'm an OG guy, so I'm not a fan of Kat personally. I know she was still part of the OG run, but I never really got into her. I never got over Kimberly, to be honest with you. And I know Tommy as a character would not just harp on old love. He would, realize and grow up and move on. That's that's the right thing to do when you're in a relationship and it doesn't go your way, if you will. So overall, I understand that he was with her, but I just didn't like it. I would have preferred Kimberly. Yeah. And I think any true diehard fan really would have felt that way.
Yeah. The other thing, like, it's kind of, like, I wish they did more of, like, actually show what the other Rangers were up to. Like, we do hear a little bit about what Billy was up to and some of the alien Rangers, but we don't know where Jason is, or are they retired, are they out and about?
And who knows, this could spin off into, old man versions of all the other characters, too. Yeah. You never know. And that might be actually kind of cool to kind of see maybe where all of the rest of them have kind of led towards, or any of them working for SPD in some degree.
Yeah. Is Zach full on hip hop keto?
Right, exactly.
Has he finally had that made a career? I want that now.
I honestly am surprised that never turned into something more, to be honest with you.
I don't know, like Old Man Jason would be great.
Oh, I mean, to be honest, that's my favorite Ranger. So
really, I thought it was Tommy.
No, Jason's always been my favorite. Yeah, because he was the original Ranger, so of course he was the first person I was, and then Tommy is, I think, the coolest Ranger. Okay, but my favorite is Jason. So.
Yeah. But yeah, like, if you're looking for this book, I'd say it's about $20, but it's definitely worth it, especially if you're a Power Rangers fan and if you've been loving. The other thing is, like, you don't have, if you or just read or watch the Power Rangers show, you don't really have to read the comics to get this. This is it's very much inspired by the TV show than the comics, even though this is Higgins' work. So all in all, I would say that this is definitely a buy.
Yeah, and again, one other thing that I mentioned this to you as well. The one thing that I really, unfortunately, puts a damper on the whole Power Rangers experience.
It's gonna sound really weird.
In comic form, is it's so good. All of it. Every bit of it is so good. Not just this comic. The entire Boom Studios run overall has been so good that it puts I almost wish it didn't exist, because it puts a damper on my love for Power Rangers as a show and the nostalgia that I had of it as a kid. Okay, and even now, you know, I'm currently actually trying to give Beast Morphers a shot, and so far it's been okay. But that is so good that you just want more and want something just a little, like I said to you earlier too, if they want to make the Power Rangers Boom come back and just print money like they used to back when it first debuted, okay, that's the way to do it. Take inspiration from the comics, make it a little more serious, make it original, stop using the old footage, just do everything yourself, and I guarantee it would be a hit.
I mean, how many times have we seen Lord Draken in stuff now?
Right, exactly.
He's become like a mainstay.
Absolutely, and it would just blow my mind.
Yeah, now in the comics, like, the new big villain outside of Draken is Alpha 1, Alpha 5's grandfather in a way. Yeah.
So, overall, again, I would say this is definitely a buy. At the very least, a borrow. Okay, don't pass this up if you're any kind of Ranger fan, from comics to movies to TV show. This is definitely something you can definitely sink your teeth into.
Yeah, absolutely. So, any other final thoughts?
No, that's about it.
So, there you go, guys. Hope you all enjoyed this review. And until next time, we will see you right here in the universe.
Peace.